is your second-hand advice from the book Limitless by Jim Kwik. This book talks about how to reach your full potential, which is basically limitless. The author, Jim Kwik, suffered a traumatic brain injury as a child, which left him with a learning disability, and he was once labeled the boy with the broken brain. In college, he realized that he didn't need to work harder, he needed to learn better. There are 3 keys to becoming limitless. We'll call them the 3 M's: mindset, motivation, and methods. You will learn how to do these things better. Increase your focus, improve your memory, and absorb information faster than ever before. First, let's discuss a significant barrier to our ability to learn: technology. Our smartphones hamper our cognitive skills by allowing us to outsource some of our brain's more specific functions. But the process of constantly switching between tasks, from texting to checking notifications to working, causes our brain to quickly burn up its fuel, leaving us stressed and exhausted. The capacity to look up facts at whatever point you need them makes your memory decay, similar to an underutilized muscle. Then again, compelling yourself to review data makes and fortifies recollections. I find it helpful to memorize the essential people's phone numbers in my life and then actually manually dial their number on my phone to call them. This works to help with your recall ability and can be extremely useful if you are out in public and lost your phone and need to contact someone, like the time I lost my purse and therefore had no car keys either. I asked a stranger to borrow their phone to call a friend to bring a spare set of keys, but quickly realized I didn't know anybody's phone number. Another simple tip is to spend 30 minutes each day with all of your devices turned off. Give your brain a rest already. Every one of us can change our mindset. The author describes mindset as deeply held beliefs, attitudes, and assumptions we create about who we are, how the world works, what we are capable of and deserve, and what is possible. He gives the analogy of a baby elephant that is attached to a stake in the ground. The baby elephant needs more strength to pull the stake up, so it inevitably quits trying. And then when the elephant is grown up, it has more than enough power to defeat the stake. However, it doesn't attempt to move it due to what it realized as a baby. Our limiting mindsets are like that stake. It turns out your brain is highly neuroplastic. That means that it changes throughout your life a lot. Take London cab drivers, for example. To get a license, a prospective London cabbie spends 3 to 4 years memorizing each of the 25,000 streets in just one 10-kilometer area of London. The process of learning thousands of streets forces their brains to create new neural pathways. It changes the structure of their minds and even makes them more prominent. We can do the same thing, but first we need to purge our minds of what the author calls lies. This is an acronym that stands for Limited Ideas Entertained. One of the biggest lies we're told is that our IQ is fixed for life or that genius is born. This is simply untrue. IQ doesn't measure your ability to learn, and everyone has the potential to be a genius, even that stupid guy that cut you off in traffic. Another lie we believe is that the criticism of other people matters. Each day, we have more than 50,000 thoughts. The National Science Foundation says that 80% of those thoughts are harmful and 95% are repetitive. We are living in a small bubble of our own destructive thinking patterns. Often these thoughts revolve around the opinions and criticisms of others. These thoughts are not productive and hinder our ability to learn new things. The fastest learners on the planet are children, mainly because they don't care what other people think of them. As adults, we need to follow their lead and take the approach that we shouldn't take criticism from someone we wouldn't take advice from. Our new belief should be, it's not your job to like, love, or even respect me. It's mine. Additionally, there are 3 lies we believe about motivation. Number 1, motivation is fixed. Wrong. You can increase your motivation. Number 2, you must enjoy something to be motivated to do it. False. You only need to have a strong enough reason to do it, but you don't have to enjoy it. And number 3, motivation is something you either have or you don't. The truth is that motivation can be created. The easiest way to motivate yourself to change your behavior is by defining yourself and your purpose. The words passion and purpose are often used identically. Passion is a feeling of intense enthusiasm or a compelling desire for something. You can have many passions. However, purpose is how you use your passion to serve people. It is something you contribute to the world. For example, you might have a passion for animals, and perhaps your purpose is to rescue the endangered Asian elephants. How can we use this information as motivation to complete things we don't want to do? If you think about why you want to complete those tasks in the first place, you'll be more motivated to act. Tie the answer to your purpose. In our Asian elephant rescuer case, she often needs to remind herself of her goal as she studies for her exams to complete her endangered species biology degree. Motivation originates from feelings. The primary emotions that can inspire us are pain and pleasure, fear and hope, and social rejection or acceptance. So answer these questions. Who am I? And what defines me? There was a study conducted at Stanford University where psychologists divided participants into 2 groups. They asked one group, how important is it for you to vote? They asked the other group, how important is it for you to be a voter? Those who were asked about being a voter turned out to be 13% more likely to participate in elections. Once your purpose is clear, you need to have enough energy to act. The best ways to support your brain are getting enough sleep, eating healthy foods, and exercising regularly. Sleep deprivation is tied to a long list of physical and mental issues such as depression, irritability, heart disease, and even Alzheimer's. Regular exercise can help you sleep better. Participants in a 16-week study on how aerobic exercise affects sleep found that those who exercised were sleeping 1.25 hours more each night. There is a direct connection between a good diet and a high-achieving brain. High-quality food. The author's top 10 brain foods are avocados, blueberries, broccoli, dark chocolate, eggs, leafy greens, salmon, turmeric, walnuts, and water. I disagree with the eggs, as I follow the medical medium's advice, whose book I will review at a later date. The medical medium advises that people avoid eggs because they feed common viruses that most people have living inside them. And one caveat to the blueberries. Frozen wild blueberries are much healthier than the cultivated ones that you can buy in the plastic clamshells. How do you make these become a habit? Start with small, simple changes. Building a practice can take an average of 66 days, but it can take as little as 18 days and as many as 254 days. I use a habit tracking app on my phone each day to track my most important reading, exercise, and meditation habits. Now, let's get into the real meat of this thing, the methods. Have you ever tried to cram for an exam? You will know that this technique doesn't work. Cramming is stressful, and the result is that after your exam, you will most likely forget everything. The resolution to this is spaced repetition. Review your material at regular intervals for at least 4 days in a row before a significant evaluation. Perhaps you study in the morning before breakfast, and then again in the evening before dinner. Another trick is to use music to increase our ability to learn. Baroque music that has 50 to 80 beats per minute is fantastic for creating focus. This is where Bach comes in. I use the Baroque Classics playlist on Spotify whenever I need to concentrate. Additionally, I employ the Pomodoro technique when I am working for long periods in my office. So I break up my work into 25-minute chunks of productivity called Pomodoros. Each Pomodoro is followed by a 5-minute break. I work at a stand-up desk as I find that this also helps with concentration. Setting a timer to walk away from my desk every 25 minutes allows me to be more effective and gives my hamstrings a break from standing. We can't talk about learning without discussing my favorite pastime, reading. The average reading speed is less than 300 words per minute. Alarmingly, most adults read no faster than elementary school children. Studies show that there is a relationship between reading ability and success in life. John F. Kennedy could read 1,200 words per minute. Why do we tend to read at a much slower pace? The answer is sub-vocalization. In school, we learn to read out loud. We continue this as adults by using sub-vocalization, where we pronounce words in our head as we read. When you sub-vocalize, you can only read as fast as you talk. One method to reduce sub-vocalization is to count out loud as you read. Just keep saying 1, 2, 3, and so on as you go down the page. This will train your brain to sub-vocalize less as you'll begin to see the words rather than saying them. You can also use your finger or a pen as you read to track your progress on the page. This is called a visual pacer, and it can increase your reading speed anywhere from 25 to 100%. So let's review. We all have the power to change our brains. We limit ourselves with false beliefs about our intelligence or other abilities. We can cultivate our individual strengths with motivation and mindset. Identify your purpose and use that to push you forward. What learning techniques have worked best for you? Comment below with your best advice. I'd love to hear how you've become limitless. And please be sure to like and subscribe as well. And thank you so much for watching. Sleep deprivation is tied to a long list of physical and mental issues such as depression, irritability, heart disease, and even Alzheimer's.